being safe, responsible, and respectful. And so we kind of looked at each of those areas within our PBIS language at the middle school. And basically our learners are very organized. You know, they're being more responsible, coming to meetings, holding themselves accountable, with showing up for their shifts, signing in for their shifts, and training new patrols, because Luke and Joseph have had the opportunity to train new students that are coming in that want to be a part of the program. We also are holding them accountable for grades and behaviors and making sure that, you know, they're following, you know, the cardinal way with any of those areas in their schoolwork. So the next one is respectful. And respectful, again, it's 5th and 6th grade currently, but you know, they're looking at the 3rd and 4th recess. So it's really important that they are showing leadership and being good role models for those younger learners. They also are working with the paras outside, or even at the four-way stop, or by school area, by the buses. So they are encouraging, you know, younger learners to, you know, make sure that they're respectful, but they're also being respectful as well, and also being able to commit to their school and being able to really make sure that this program is successful. And the last one is safety. And this fits very nicely because we are safety patrol. And we are really, really proud about the reduced referrals, especially during recess time. And so, you know, it is a small contribution to having those go down this year. And we think that it is some sort of, you know, programming that we're doing, and we'd like to, you know, continue doing a lot with recess, or kind of promoting positive play, peer mediation during that recess time. Again, they go toward the paraprofessionals for support. They have a good relationship with them. Sometimes they are there before and after school, so they are with large groups as well as smaller groups, and then at recess. But again, you know, we would like to kind of expand the program and see other different options that we can put into place based on kind of this PBIS model that we have.
And the last piece, I was thinking John would probably say, oh, she's always got to have the last word. She kind of does, actually. It's hard to even say anything after you listen to these two. We didn't coach them at all. We gave them the application form with the criteria, and that's what they came up with. That's who they are. So it is incredibly impressive. We are too. I mean, we were both in tears here. We're so proud of them. One of the things of note is, you know, we started the program, but within months, they took over. So they organized all the training. We had a new student come to school, and they came to us and said, did you know the new 6th grader, and this is his name, and he was in safety patrol, and he wants to be in safety patrol, so we're going to train him, okay? What do you need? Nothing. Okay. So they're just really natural leaders. And the last piece, I just think we really fit in nicely with our vision of how we take care of kids. We are really adapting and responding to a different kind of a leadership role. Some people might think, oh, it's safety patrol, they have their cute little flags. It's so much more. Mm-hmm. And we certainly have proven it with these two. They are both incredible leaders. And it is really obvious once they read to you how different they are, how personalized leadership is for them, and that without either one of them, I'm not sure the program would be where it is right now. You know, Luke's the one who came in and said, we need to do this, and he took the bull by the horns and he ran with it. And Joseph is the one who said, I want to make sure this succeeds. I want to make sure this continues. It's not just us. It goes further than that. And so together, they've just created this really neat synergy of leadership. So we're really proud of them, and we thank you for letting us come and give you some joyful news. And I think we're done. Thank you.
Yeah. How does 5th and 6th grade work in with recess timer? How do you work that out?
5th grade, do you want to answer that?
No.
How are 5th and 6th grade doing?
6th and lunch and recess.
So what does 5th grade do versus?
5th grade is the same as 5th grade and 6th grade, both do the four-way stop and the buses. But then the 6th graders only do the 3rd and 4th grade recess. So like when they're in 6th grade, then they can do 3rd and 4th grade recess.
Yeah, and they sign up for that. They've chosen to give up their recess for a week at a time, and these two, they just fill in wherever it needs to be filled in, so.
So these boys, you're both sixth grade now.
Mhm.
Will this continue as next year as seventh graders then? Or what's your
Well,
plan?
That's
Ms.
what we
Hodge and I,
hope.
yeah, Ms. Hodge and I are talking about that. We want to maintain the model that we have now and continue to grow that. But what we see for leadership is with Mrs. Beester's retirement and Ms. Hodge taking over the whole school, we are looking at our other leadership opportunities a little differently. So what we're thinking is 7th and 8th grade will just continue to scaffold off what we already have. So one example of that is we do the bus buddies. So we have 7th and 8th graders who hop on the bus at Mayville Middle School at the end of the day, right over to Parkview to help out. So this would just continue in that capacity. Student council, there would be other opportunities that we'd like to grow as well.
Do they have that privilege to go to the Dells yet, or whatever it is you're exactly?
Not only are we going to the Dells, thank you, Mr. Slender, we're going overnight to the Dells. Yeah, once we found out that Luke won, we absolutely have to take everyone with us and represent for Mayville. So we are going on May 18th, and we are staying overnight. And that night, he will be presented the award in front of everyone.
Wow, wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, we can all be very proud of your accomplishments, from your parents to the staff to this whole school district. You represent us outstanding representation. Your leadership is just, for your age, is just unreal. And I'm sure Mr. Clark is looking forward to seeing you.
I was just thinking that. That's coming up. We've got some good years ahead.
So again, congratulations on your hard work
Thank you.
for this school district.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. If I could, Robin and Ms. Hodge, one of the things in my reports is going to be on our 8th grade field trip today. But since I wasn't on it, I wonder if Robin and Kristen could just talk about that for a minute.
Do you want to say what?
Okay.
Talk about behavior myself, if you want.
So we had the opportunity, for the first time, our 8th grade class went to a tri-college visit in Mayville. So we have 3 colleges we visited today with different experiences. UW Fond du Lac, which was a 2-year college, Marine Park Technical College, and then Marion University, which is a 4-year private. And so all of our students were able to be on all 3 campuses, tour the facilities, see what a dorm room is, see what a college classroom looks like, and get a lot of different experiences that they may not have had. And it was a great experience because surrounding area schools were there too. So we were paired up with Oakfield. And we were able just to really get a lot of exposure. Kids had great questions and really had kind of that connection piece with what they're learning here and how that's going to apply them in their future. So it was a really cool component that we saw today, and a lot of kids kind of started having these thoughts of, you know, I could see myself doing this, or I didn't know this program existed. So it was a really cool additional piece for our ACP kind of, you know, direction that we're trying to move the district in. And, you know, I could see it being really successful throughout the years.
There were some pretty impressive things. Kristen and I created the ACP, we call it. And it's for 7th and 8th grade, and they do use the career cruising software. And so we help them to sort of identify their strengths and their weaknesses, their hobbies and interests, and if they have any idea where they might want to head for an occupation, or even just to check it out and see what it's all about. And then they create a final presentation that they share with everyone. It is incredible to watch the humility, speaking of Joseph's word, of 7th and 8th graders to be able to stand before their peers and say, my weaknesses are, I just don't pay as much attention as I should, or it's really incredible to watch them be that humble. But they learned more than we maybe even realized, because today we were so impressed. Their behavior was exemplary. I won't repeat the name of the other school district that we were with, but wow, wow, it was night and day. Our kids were engaged, they asked good questions, they were well behaved, they were really incredible. And really asked some questions about things that we had talked about in class that they apparently still have rolling around back there that they brought up and asked. They learned things like, what is an undergrad compared to a graduate or a doctorate? You know, how long do you have to go? How much does it cost? And you know, do things transfer? That was a great question.
That is.
One of our eighth graders said, if I start here and I transfer or I get the degree here and I go to out of state, will that go with me? Does that still, you know, so they were pretty impressive. And it was a really neat opportunity for them to be able to experience something so close by.
How wonderful to have young people at that age being exposed to that and start that process. You know, things that they may not have even considered.
And Mr. Clark would have been very happy because they said, when does GPA start? When does GPA count? And our kids knew it was freshman year, beginning, September freshman year.
Yeah.
So that was really, really eye-opening and I think really time-sensitive for them too.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you very
You want
much.
more good news? We have more. All right.
Thank you.
guys.
Yeah. Okay, moving back up. We have resolution 1617-237, approval of, I'm sorry, first of all, we have to have a treasurer's report. You want to give the treasurer's report?
Treasurer's report for March of 2017. Total expenditures for all funds for March 2017 is $812,606.81. Our current investments, state investment pool as the end of March, we have $2,093,600,49.49 in the general account, which is earned interest of $277.45. Debt service account has a big balance of 14 cents. Non-refundable debt account balance of $1,218.72, earned interest of $10.06. For a total investment, government investment pool, current interest rate 0.53%, and $2,095,106.86. At the rest of state bank account, money market general, current balance of $1,807,712.60, earned interest of $1,230.35. Money market fund 46 trust has a balance of $1,195.78, earned interest of 66 cents. For total investment, the rest of state bank, $1,810,139.39. Total cash investments as of the end of March, $3,905,246.25.
Okay, you've heard the treasurer's report. Now we have resolution 1617-237, approval of the treasurer's report. Need a motion for approval?
Barb Hager, so moved.
Motion by Barb, second by
I'll second.
Shannon. Any questions on the treasurer's report? Barb?
Aye.
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 Motion carried 7-0. We have resolution 1617-238, approval of regular sum and monthly bills.
So moved.
Motion by Dick, seconded by
Terry.
Terry. Questions on the bills? Hearing none. Dick?
Aye.
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 Motion carried, 7-0. Resolution 1617-239, approval of per diem.
I'll move.
Second.
Terry, second by Shannon. Any changes?
I need to add one. I thought it was, our last insurance meeting was on the 21st of March.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that one needs to be honored.
321.
And I had an extra CISA meeting.
Okay, well, do you know what the two dates were, so.
It would have been the 3rd and then the second Tuesday.
The 3rd of April,
Yes.
4/3 and 4/11.
Was in the morning.
Art,
Anything else?
added yours
Oh, yeah,
for Candace, for
yeah, 4/6, sorry.
Okay, could I get a motion to amend this resolution for these additions? I'm gonna do it this way.
to amend.
Okay, motion by Terry, second by Norm. So the motion, this motion, the original motion is amended to add the 321 for Terry, add 4-3 and 4-11 for Dick, and 4-6 for Barb. Any discussion on this amendment? Terry?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Motion carried 7-0. Now, discussion on the amended motion, which includes these dates. Any questions or discussion on the amended motion? Terry?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye. Motion carried 7-0. Thank you. Okay, committee meetings? Do you have
Yeah.
curriculum?
Yes, sorry, here, give me a
No,
second.
no problem.
All right. The curriculum committee met twice. We met on 4/7 and we met on 4/19 because there was too much material to go over in the one occasion. And so we reviewed a fair amount of information, which is typical this time of year. One of the first things we discussed was the high school personalized learning and how that was going to look. Mr. Clark reported on the planning that's gone into it, how they're actually looking at implementation, all of the different facets of the high school personalized learning. We looked at some of the enrollment data. Then Mr. Clark, we talked about some of the other high school programming, the GEDO 2, or I'm never quite sure how to say that one, the general education diploma option, and then alternative education and the CAP program. So we discussed all those things, got some updates on that. Becky came in from and talked about some of the changes in some of the needs that we have at the Parkview Learning Center in terms of the Chromebooks and the iPads and how that's best working. And so how that's going to implement into our tech budget, as we're looking at, they found that with some of the writing capabilities and such that the iPads wasn't necessarily the best move, that Chromebooks were really working better for the students, and they developed some of those skills. Then we had Mr. Schlender and Mr. Zarna did a presentation on some changes in some instructional software, which is the iReady, which is it's new software that's replacing something that we had been using in the past. It's replacing the MAP software. And so we discussed that, the options, pros, cons, all those kinds of things. And then we talked about the Canvas
which I don't understand. Maybe Terry, could you address that just briefly?
Well, it's a learning management system, and it really just enhances in your teaching. You know, I love it, but it's web-based, but it's a wonderful resource for teachers in instructing the content.
Then we talked, Mr. Shunder, I believe, came in and talked about the WTI grant and how that's progressing, the work that's being done on that. And we had some information about that previously. And then we spent a great deal of time talking about the K-8 science series. It's been the first time in as long as any of us could remember that any of us have been around that we've adopted a new science curriculum. And so this would be a major purchase, but also very significant area that we need to be developing and working on, and has become relevant with some of our data. That is an area that we need to provide more learning on. And also we've learned how we can implement the science curriculum and using some of the English and math skills also, and combining those skills so that they can be all developed better. So a lot of research was done by the staff in comparing the different potential curriculums that are available, and they have come forth with a recommendation that will be coming forth in one of the next couple meetings, but they did an in-depth report for us. Let's see, that was the science adoption. Then that continued on until the next meeting, where we also looked at finished presentation on the science curriculum, and that was, we had some staff in actually talking about the implementation from the teacher and the student component of that. So the actual, and we saw some of the actual samples of materials and how they could potentially be used in the classroom. And then Suwiri came in and did her tech budget presentation. We went through that in depth and looked at some changes. There wasn't a lot of changes, and if it was mostly a substitution. Her budget looks very good. It actually looks less than this year in her proposal for next year. It includes the needs, I think, that will address all of these other curriculum components are already built into that budget. I think that covers everything. It was a lot of information that we went over, a lot of presentation, but I did want to specifically report to the rest of the board that the curriculum committee had done their due diligence and had reviewed all these materials. So even though two of us will not actually be here at the time the rest of the board actually approves these materials, Shannon will still be here, but that we did do all of our diligence in reviewing those. Does anybody else have anything to add from what was part of that meeting? Okay, so it was like a little in-depth, but
You covered it well.
okay, so.
Thank you, Barb.
I got a little bit of those background. We had a meeting this morning. Our insurance company did a study on slips, trips, and falls, and they come back with a report a half-inch thick. So for 2 hours, we went through that report, page by page, and very, very interesting, very, very interesting. We got a lot of work this summer, we got a lot of things to do, and a lot of good recommendations. That's what was good about it. For every problem we had, they had a good recommendation to it. And the other thing we had looked into was custodial equipment, you know, a time frame for replacement, and maybe getting in service work before the thing breaks, because a lot of people just run it until it don't run anymore. And there's companies that do come around and check them out for you and make sure they're right things are changed at the right time. And then the other thing is a heads up. We want to put the parking lot up for sale at the corner of John and Dayton Street, and also the green area where the administration building and the gym used to stand. We want to put it up for sale so we don't have to clip on and maintain the parking lot. And there's been a request for different people that are interested in it.
Are you going to look for, you know, I would assume if you're gonna put up, regardless of that the green grass or the parking lot, I would assume that somehow you'd make an announcement that you're looking for.
Yeah, it's going to be done. And we had contacted our lawyer, and he said he's willing to keep it kind of in-house. He can make sure the right ads get out in this.
Yeah.
Okay, no.
They looked at the easements and everything, right?
Okay, so there's been no more discussion about looking at the city, taking
We've been
away
talking,
green
right now
space?
is the official, we still got to go through the board to officially let us do it.
Oh, no, I'm just asking,
Yes,
has that been
they've been
discussed?
talked to.
Okay,
Different groups that are interested in it.
okay.
So
Because it'd be wonderful.
Do we need to have an appraisal done on that?
Yes, so right now,
Independent appraiser?
one, we're working to get the titles right now, so it's a small fee to make sure that the titles are in good shape. For just the lot itself, not the parking lot, but the green space, I believe there were some kind of contingencies on what that can be used for, so we need to make sure that that's open and transparent, and we've got all this information. And then once we have that all pulled together, then we'll get an appraisal done on the properties so we know what really is fair to be expecting for the value for the properties. And then we'll go from there. So first is let's just get all the information, and then we know that right now we're maintaining the properties, and as far as the vision goes, there's no plan on doing anything with that, so we would like to be able to sell it. That's the discussion that we had.
Okay, that's a short synopsis.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just to add what Dick said about the safety report, it's very timely because that would be very helpful as we start planning the referendum for
Yes.
schoolwork. They pointed out a lot of things that are everyday stuff you see that you might not even think of.
Yeah. My recommendation is that entire report as is, especially when it comes to the stuff at the high school, goes directly to the construction manager and our architect, and just what naturally is a part of this. And then what are some things that are outside of the scope of the referendum itself, because safety and security was a big part of the referendum.
Oh, yeah.
So.
And there's some of the things we can do right now, this summer. A lot of painting, a lot of yellow paint in certain places.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dick.
Yeah.
Administrative report.
Mine's really short. So, look, there's nothing up there today even, so there was a spring break involved for me, and I came back and I've been in meetings for 2 days straight. So, one is the end of the year tea, save the date for Wednesday, the May 24th at 3:30 at the high school cafeteria. So I'm like, what is end of the year tea? Well, it's an end of the year celebration, it's recognizing the retirements.
And
We're all gonna have tea together and
the
do
tea
what?
is bad.
So, well, we'll need to work on that. So it's to recognize any retirements that we do have. As of right now, there are no teacher retirements that have been received by the district office here. But there are some support staff that will be retiring. And we also recognize years of service, 10, 20, 30 years. So it's a nice thing to do.
It's really nice.
So save the date for May 24th at 3:30. So as far as consent for a yes, and then 49.73% no, so with 1,202 votes, so that's a 13-vote difference. So keeping that in mind, we also had our board election, so we have 2 board members that are leaving us after tonight, and 2 new board members who are out in the audience who are taking an oath of office coming up here soon, so there's a change of the guard there. And we did have our canvassing, that was on April 6th, so that Janet had mentioned, so Janet and Barb and Angie did a great job with that, so thank you very much for your extra time. And so there were no changes, throughout all of that. So at that point in time, what we have coming up, please expect some more finance information coming from Barrett on May 1st. They'll be here just providing some updates. So far in my informal conversations with them, things are looking great as far as interest rate environment. Interest rates have dropped. We're talking like 3.34%. So, which is wonderful. So that's what, keep your fingers crossed and hope these things are like that. So that should help to promise fewer years of payments and less interest in the long haul. So we'll see, but the actual formal report is coming on May 1st for that. Legislative breakfast and Joint Finance Committee hearing that was up in Berlin, went to that. It was about a week and a half ago. It really appears as though the $250 per student, there's a strong commitment to those funds. So we budgeted in our Beard forecast model, and I think it's going to stick. So that gives us some good comfort in our planning as we're looking ahead for next year. And then more budget updates absolutely are coming in the month of May to the Board of Education. So we're making some great progress when it comes to preparing the budget for next year. And the budget for this year looks really good too. So it looks like everything's falling in line as we planned. There was a PTA lip sync, so I know, Dick, you were there.
Yeah.
So you got to see Mr. Sable acting crazy as well as the kids. And it was a very fun event, very great family event, a nice tradition that we have here. So Just like to thank you to Becky to putting me on the hot spot and putting me in the middle of all of that. Even though it's supposed to originally be a big group event. Yeah.
You impressed a
Thank
lot
you
of
for
people,
that.
including me.
Yeah, I was
You're a good sport.
sick. I was sick that all of that entire week. We're like, oh, I don't know if I have anything. So but that was good though. So once the event started, it was fun. Yeah, it was a little crazy. Blue Zone Steering Committee meeting, I went to that. There'll be many of those meetings occurring. I don't know if I'll be able to make everything, but there's definitely some great momentum with that. There was a Blue Zone meeting for an informational meeting for our community that was in the district Monday night? Tuesday nights? Tuesday night, really well attended. We had excellent participation.
The presentation was the same as what we had here.
Yeah.
The guy that was here did an excellent presentation.
And they had awesome attendance and they gave free things away, so if we want people to come to things, maybe we can start giving stuff away. So, but that sounds like a fun event, so I'm looking forward to that and just being part of the community there. On April 24th, the Dodge County Emergency Management Group is getting together. We're really going to start to look at our school emergency operations plans again. We're meeting in Juneau, and then from there, we're going to start talking about is it Alice? You know, so are you running and fighting as far as school safety goes, or are you using your standard lockdown procedures and trying to build a capacity so we can all make a similar decision county-wide so they know how to respond. But we're not there yet. First, we're looking at our current resources. So we have our final benefits advisory committee meeting on April 25th at the after school. That is being facilitated by AFG. And then we have, I have a teach grant meeting to wrap up this year's budget for the teach grant, and we're optimistic that those dollars will be available again next year. So that's been great. It's all for our professional development of our staff. And then the administrative team, I hope you have in your calendars, working on the work is on April 27th. It's Mike Manos again. He's a phenomenal speaker. This is free by the DPI, so it's a really well done workshop, and it's all done through distance learning, so ITV stuff, and it's like he's right there in the room presenting, so it's an excellent experience. And then our board meeting then with our new board is on May 1st at 6 o'clock. And one of the things that we'll be bringing there will be the teacher contracts, as we're just preparing for the 2017-18 school year. So there won't be any changes in dollar amounts or anything with the contracts, but we have to have those done by May 15th. They have to be in the hands of the teachers by May 15th, which means we'd have to have another board meeting otherwise. So just heads up, that'll be at the first board meeting. So that's it.
Thank you, Scott.
I got a question for Scott. That CISA 6 bus tour. Anybody interested in that, or back there?
We'll talk.
Okay.
So yeah, they want to RSVP soon for that. So the CISA 6 is pulling together. They have a bus tour. They'd like to do this once a year, moving ahead. Just let's go see our schools and let's go see what best practice is. And they've got 3 showcase schools that they're going to start with, and they're looking for people.
3 in the north, as you remember. I said north, Mile
Right.
Yeah.
Berlin, and Neenah. And next year it'll probably be in the south, and hopefully Mayville's in there.
Becky?
All right. Couple of things. We have, summer school registration starts on Monday, so catalogs, planning sheets have been shared with families, so now we have been fielding a lot of phone calls with questions about things, which always happens as summer school begins, so we are working through those. Excited to have that open up to families as of 3:30 on Monday afternoon. So Weary and Danny Steiner and I are getting together tomorrow to wrap up everything, make sure everything from the technical side is ready to go. So that is very exciting that we finally reached that point where we can get families enrolled as well. Next week, through the work of Tina Johnson, if you remember, Tina had been our K-8 art teacher for a couple of years, and last year, about this time, she was granted one of our district's mini grants to have a guest artist come, an artist in residence come and spend some time with us. So she was awarded that grant, and she was also awarded some money that she got through UW Oshkosh has something called Arts Corps, which is a professional development program for art teachers. And she worked with that program last year, and she received monies from them as well. To bring this gentleman, his name is Mark Jones, and he is a stop motion animation artist. And he is coming and spending the entire week with us next week. So he will be part of all of the K-6 art classes. So he'll be working both with all the way through kindergarten through 8th grade. And then there's a specialized schedule to interact with the 7th graders and 8th graders as well next year. So we are very excited to have Mr. Jones coming into residence with us next week and working with all of our kids on stop motion animation. So it should be very fun week. We also had an opportunity to meet with Matt Powell, who works at John Deere. He's part of the John Deere Inspire portion, where we have some more community service and connection with the school districts. And Matt's going to be coordinating with both Parkview and with the middle school to come in and do some engineering presentations for our littlest learners. So just do a quick 30 minutes, show them some STEM things, some math and science ideas. It ties in nicely with the new science curriculum that we're bringing in, and I can tell you from my perspective as we've been piloting it at Parkview, the excitement that we see in the kids and in the teachers with the stuff that we're doing with science. And then that goes hand in hand with our vision for what Parkview can have in terms of STEM programming as well, and just really growing that piece. So I'm very excited to have Matt come. Also, he will be our precursor into looking at bringing in Lego League Junior next year for our kids who are ages 6 through 10. So very excited about that relationship growing and building. And then the last piece is that today, and I'm not sure how long it has been, I asked Ann Larson, who's my secretary, if she's ever done this since she'd been there, and she said no, but I know it has happened in the past. The entire Parkview school went to the Silver Lining Theater in West Bend today to see James and the Giant Peach. So 226 of us showed up. So we actually took up the entire center front section of the theater. The Kinder Friends were right in the front row. But I will tell you, I have never been to the West Bend Children's Theater, but it was amazing. And the work that they did to make sure that even the actors were everywhere around that theater. They were not just on the stage, so kids could see them everywhere. And they were turning in their seats and watching. And every one of our learners was there, and they were engaged, and they were excited, and it was a fantastic opportunity. So we were very lucky to be able to be part of that today. All right, and that's what I have.
Thank you, Becky. John?
Between our learners, our staff, and Becky's report, all of our stuff is covered, so I have no report, no further report. Then I'm good.
Okay, you're in the next.
Bob. Hi. The high school participated in the mock fire drill today, and also we will have our forward testing in grade 10 social studies next week on Tuesday and Wednesday. There are 2 sessions. They'll do one session Tuesday and the second on Wednesday. And Aspire testing for grades 9 and 10, all these tests are required for accountability, will occur towards the end of May. So those will be 1 week for grade 9 and the second week for grade 10. And then we'll have our testing done. So I'll give you an update on that later. Our GEDO 2 results so far, we have some students who are finishing. We have 10 students in the program this year. And as of the 19th, 5 students had completed all their requirements, and they are ready for graduation in June to go across our stage. The following day, on the 20th, we had another student, and then April 25th, which is next week, we're expecting a 7th student to finish. And then by June, the final 2 for 9 should be finished, and that leaves 1 who won't finish. And that one we're still working with. Came to us after the start of the year from another state, is an adult high school student that came to us with no credits. So this one's going to take probably a little more time to get all the requirements done. So we had 2 students in our GEDO program from last year who didn't come back. One of them completed their credits and earned their degree, and the other is set to finish at MPTC with an HSED due to work conflict in getting to school. 16 of our high school students will be joining the 6th grade camp students at the end of April, and they will work as high school mentors as they do every year. And our honor roll for 3rd quarter is available, and we had 106 students receiving the top honor, 4.0 down to 3.5 GPA, and that was 106 students. And then for B honor roll, which is 349 down to 3.0, we had 109 students, and that's out of 385 students at the high school. So for A honor roll, that's 27.5% of our students, and for B honor roll, that's 28.5% of our students, making that grade point average. So we're very proud of that. RILA is a program through the Rotary, National Rotary Organization. It stands for Rotary Youth Leadership Award. It's a camp that is held in May. There are 2 students who will be attending. They applied. There was an application process, and they applied, and then we had them fill out some additional questions because we had more students apply than there were spots. There were 2 spots. And then from those additional questions that were reviewed, we are sending Joe Oganoff and also Taylor Trost to the Ryla camp this year in May. And that is funded by our Rotary here in town. And then our choral large group competition, the Large Group Choral Festival, was presented 2 ratings. And also there were 54 events, there are 54 events headed for solo and ensemble for vocal. And the Chicago competition, which our concert choir went to a week or so ago, received a 4th and a 5th, and they had some very strong competition from other areas and other states and other large cities. So they're proud of their work, but they came in 4th and 5th in that competition. Badger boys and girls were selected. I'll have names at the next meeting to share with you. We're sending 2 to Badger boys, 2 to Badger girls. We also have 2 alternates for both boys and girls, and I've already heard from the organization that they may have selected one of our alternate boys already, so we'll be sending 3 instead of 2. So we're hoping to send more alternates if other schools cannot find students to go. And also our NHS, the National Honor Society, service is part of what they do. And there's a nice letter here, which I'll read to you. On behalf of Judy Plotzgraf and the entire Mayville Legion Auxiliary, we thank you for the help of the NHS students who worked at our concession stand. Their help was greatly appreciated. Your students presented a positive image of the National Honor Society and their school. They were prompt, respectful, and great workers. Thank you again, and this comes from Carol Miller, Secretary of the Mayville Legion Auxiliary Unit 69. So, thank you.
All right, thank you, Bob. Lee?
Just a couple updates for you. Becky, give me the date when we're submitting title plans for the school-wide. Is it next? April?
Yeah, next week.
Okay, so the first item is, currently we offer Title I services in Parkview as a targeted assistant in literacy. And if you understand title funding, it's a specific amount of federal dollars that we have to use in very prescriptive ways to our most neediest learners. The state has opened up the opportunity for schools to apply to become school-wide. And basically that used to be determined by an amount of free or reduced lunch. So I'm pleased to announce that both Becky and John in Parkview and Middle School will be applying to become school-wide title schools, for lack of a better word. It doesn't give us any additional monies, but what it allows us to do is service a greater number of kids and use our resources far better than we have in the past. For example, in John's building, I don't know if it's true in Becky's too, we have a lot of title materials that we've purchased over the years. Now these will become accessible to all our students. So that's a pretty exciting thing. The first piece of that will be that the requirement is that all our paraprofessionals will now have a certification of being called highly qualified. So this June, that's our first step after the application process, is to get all our paraprofessionals in Parkview Middle School highly qualified, literally with a certification from CISA 6. So we're looking forward to that.
Do they do additional training for that?
Yeah, it's one full day and then a series of online modules.
Yeah, it's a full day of training, and then there's online modules that they need to complete.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
And the requirement on the HQ or the highly qualified is moving forward. We cannot retain anyone that isn't highly qualified, nor will we hire anyone that isn't as well. So we're going to count for the people that we have right now, get them trained and qualified, and move forward. Second item, and if you see a smile on Janet Ty's face, this is why, is our civil rights data collection has been submitted and certified, and the key is the certification piece. We got it back. There's a fair amount of schools that will hit submit and it kicks back to ours. So, in addition to Janet, Carol Wellner, April Kaczynski, Ann Larson, Lisa Heim, Karen Crafton, Janelle Desarn, they spent a lot of time on this to make it work really well, and we should give them a wonderful acknowledgement. So thank you, Janet. And the process was they collected the local building, and then everything comes up to Janet, and she's got to put it in, so thank you for your work. And on the heels of that, due this June is the pupil non-discrimination report that we'll be submitting, and that's the one we do every other year. And basically it deals with scholarships, forms of recognition, counseling, curriculum, and services, and as well as extracurricular. So our counselors, our principals, and Joe Wandero and I will be starting to work on that. That's a self-evaluation, so basically local, submit to the DPI, and then we're good to go. Just a quick note on John's testing. He's wrapping up forward testing over the next 2 weeks. I literally think half your building is done, John.
Half done right now.
Kids have been working hard, teachers have done very well. Very few technology issues, which is wonderful to see. And the last item is we do have one course option request that I approved today for Moraine Park for College 101. It's a 2-credit course. So it's our only second course options request since the program started. So we've only had 2 in the
Is that
number of
student
years.
planning to go to Marine Park?
Yeah.
Because I was going to say, why would they do that if what's
Yeah.
the plan to do?
In fact, Terry, just so you know, they also applied for another course that they did not qualify, and Amy said no to that. So I want to compliment Marine Park that they're on top of that and following the expectations. So, so we do have one course options request for this summer. All right. Thanks.
Thank you, Lee. Any unfinished business? New business, we have resolution 1617240, approval of monetary gift, $366.10 from an anonymous donor for the Adopt a Pilot program.
So moved.
Motion by Dick, seconded by
Terry.
Terry. Can you explain?
Sure, the Adopt a Pilot program has been in existence, I believe, before I began at the middle school, but this will be the 4th year, I believe, that Vince Wild has led our 4th graders on an actual trip to the airport in Milwaukee, and so they get an experience and they get behind the scenes look, including the cockpit and the baggage areas and all those types of things. But along with that, Vince comes in, I believe there's 3 sessions for each class, 3 or 4 sessions for each class, where he comes in and talks about all the different aspects of flying an airplane and those types of things, and then it culminates with a trip down there. So we're fortunate to have this donation that helps us out and take some of the costs off the families. So.
All right, thank you, John. Any questions on this monetary gift? Dick?
Aye.
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 Motion carried 7-0. Resolution 1617241, approval of creation of an activity account for the high school tennis program. I'll move. Motion by Nord.
I'll second it.
Second by Barb. This is a new activity account because it's a new,
And they raised quite a bit of money. The fundraising.
So the letter that you see from our varsity tennis coach, John Wild, does a great job of just telling the story about the program. So it originally started so Mayville High School is the girls tennis team for 3 years. The number of athletes participating in tennis went from 2 the first day to 18 last year. So, and they're looking forward to having even more numbers in 2017. So right now, they're the only sport that we have that doesn't have an activity count. So it's just protocol to bring it back.
For a while, we tried to get rid of them all, and now we got them all back again.
Well, we
Which is not all bad.
We're cleaning them up. So there needs to be activities that are money in, money out for those students. So.
Is this a WIA sport? I mean, recognized by the WIA?
Yeah.
Good, good.
Made me thinking for a second, like, what? Yeah, of course it's
Sure.
And then this meets our requirements that
Yes.
we have.
Sure.
Equal numbers of sports, right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
any questions on this activity account? Nord?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion carried 7-0.
Is there any interest in the boys tennis team?
Or we
That
just,
doesn't come to me. The only thing that came to me so far this year was some interest in adding hockey into it. Is that
they try every other year
That's,
on that one.
that was a
So
big process.
that's
So
a-
Joel went and
that's a
checked
tough
it out.
one.
and-
That is an
That's a
expensive
tough one.
sport.
Closest one was Beaver Dam. though.
Okay, I let you guys up really good on that one. So, yeah, you're right. The one thing though, to be aware of, adding any men's sports on is the equity piece, so we'd have to be really careful, so I would definitely look at it.
Well, you
Do
can
an
have
audit.
girls hockey too.
Yeah, you could, right, that's not it, I meant about tennis.
I know,
We
I
have to
know,
talk
I
boys
know.
tennis. We also wanna make sure that we can properly fill the teams, too.
Yeah, we took 3 years to build Tennessee.
Because I know, isn't it Beaver Dam is partnered with Waupun? There's a couple of districts that are partnered together. Yeah.
With the hockey.
With
With the hockey.
Then you-
I'm still on
then
hockey.
then you
They
gotta
have
the-
to.
then you
It's
gotta
so
have
hard
the
to find
arena
ice time.
Or run the Waupun.
It's expensive though.
It's very,
You have to
very
pay for
expensive.
that piece
I
of
know
ice
my
time and
youngest
stuff.
was in hockey for a number of
Yeah,
years.
John did hockey for a while. That is not cheap.
I started to open up when the price tag started to come, like, oh, okay, hold on.
Yeah, you're right.
We need another bus on the road.
Okay, moving on. The resolution 1617242, approval of leased employee agreement between the school district of Mayville and Winnet County School District for services by Eric Larson. Any motion?
Barb Hager, so moved.
Motion by Barb, second by
I'll second.
Shannon. Okay, Lee.
And what I will share with you is actually for each, all three of these will be encompassed to one. But what we are recommending and proposing unanimously out of the admin team is to enter into agreement of a leased employee, for lack of a better word, with the school district of Winnicott. And specifically what we'll be doing is we'll be purchasing 35 days of support in the area of data assessment and training for our building leaders, myself and Scott as an administrative team. And the idea is under a train the trainer model, these experts, which I think highly of because we have worked with two of the three gentlemen that we're proposing tonight with past employment through CISA, will literally come in, bring their knowledge into our district, train our administrative team, and the plan would be is this would run over 2 years. Some of the highlights is that Winnet County currently has the similar agreements with New London, Ripon, Wapaka. Ripon has experienced some strong growth and some new opportunities to improve student outcomes and achievement through this relationship. One thing we've already noticed is it will reduce our dependency on other agencies. For example, we currently belong to CISA 6 in their Learning and Assessment Center for a certain dollar amount. We will no longer belong to that group. We'll use these three gentlemen in lieu of that. We have worked with them before. Eric Larson has come and worked with Bob's building before, so we already have similar arrangements, but in very smaller chunks.
And I've worked with Eric Larson in another school district to the south here for years. Excellent.
Can I ask you a question though? You said that it'd be 35 days?
35 total days, Terry.
In a whole year,
Yeah.
but we only have 2.18%.
For him, so each gentleman is going to have a different contract amount with us.
I got you. So total, it's gonna be 35 days.
Total
for all.
35 days, so I
Okay.
think Don has the most, and then Eric, and then
Okay, no,
Eric.
that.
Yep, so that's a very good question.
Those are in the building, working with us. There's still a phone call if we ever.
Okay.
So the rationale of this model is to find experts, come in, support our building leadership team, then we can become experts, which in areas that we're not right now.
Okay.
So we're looking forward to this opportunity.
And what is, the first person we're talking about is Eric.
Yeah.
What's his background?
Eric, is it Eric Larson? Eric Larson used to run the assessment literacy piece for CISA 6. He was their top guy. He also worked for DPI when they developed WiseDash. He currently works for the Menasha School District and now has come on full-time with Winnet County. His background is an ag education teacher. The background with Don is he had been principal in Fond du Lac, was principal of their STEM school, as well as their district assessment leader. And then Garth Larson worked at Little Chute, I believe, John, and in the classroom, moved into curriculum, and then he became director of learning at Winnet County. So we kind of got a past relationship built with them. They actually sought us out because they have similar philosophies with where we want to go with assessment and achievement.
So the source of revenue is professional development. This is all really professional development is what it's, we're just taking those dollars and putting it towards this for 2017-18. And in addition to that, what we had shared with you is we're looking at a reduction in our professional development budget for 2017-18. So we're really focusing on really what we need to do for next year.
And one of the cost savings is from build your own curriculum, which we used to use at our platform to house our curriculum. And that annual dollar amount will be put toward this to offset the cost as well, simply because we find there are better ways to locally create your learning targets without this attachment to BYOC. And John, Becky, and Bob's building have already begun that work.
Okay, thank you, Lee.
Thank you.
Look,
Any questions?
you know why Winnicott is the main place? Why didn't Menasha?
I think, one, because I think Winnicott had the presence of mind a couple of years ago to already see this as being a new model to make best use of time and resources. Dick, Garth already being there, developed the relationship with Eric and Don, and this,
one of them's there already. Okay.
yeah, and away from CISA, we're the only one down here that has been joined in addition to Ripon. But I think, well, in terms of pure achievement, I know Winnicott has different population and demographics than us, but they are really doing some great things with instruction that we can learn from them.
Great.
Any more questions for Lee on this lease agreement for Eric Larson? Barb?
Aye.
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 Motion carried 7-0. Resolution 1617243, approval of lease employee agreement with the Winter County School District for Don Smith.
I'll move.
Motion by Shannon, second by Moore. Any questions on this resolution for this leased time? Shannon?
Aye.
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 Motion carried 7-0. Resolution 1617244, approval of lease employee agreement with Winter County School District for Garth Larson. So moved. Motion by Dick,
Second.
second by Terry. Any questions on this agreement with Garth Larson? Dick?
Aye.
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 Motion carried 7-0. Any old business?
John, just a reminder that sixth grade camp is next week, and then I always appreciate seeing the school board come up, so I don't know if you want to coordinate a night that people travel together or just show up. They do ask if you're going to come over the dinner time, you give them an idea so they know what to prepare for a couple extra. I always have plenty of food, but
They
they like
always
to know
need
if
some
you-
help serving too.
Yeah.
And that's fun. That's fun.
Yeah, so, Terry Fuller and Patty Casper would be the contact, but
Okay, thank you, John.
everybody can make it.
Before I administer the oath of office to our three new board members, or two new board members and one, I just want to thank Terry for your time, your contributions to the school district. It's very apparent that education is a top priority in your life, and I really appreciate what you've done for and helped me out, learn more, so thank you very much for your time on this school board.
I will tell you that this has been a wonderful experience. I'm so proud of what you all do. I'm proud of what the administrators do. I'm proud of what the teachers and support staff do. And I'm proud that I was part of this. And I thank you too. Thank you for, I'm thanking Mayville for the opportunity to do this. And I go away with great memories.
Sure, good. And Barb? Barb, it's been a pleasure having you on the board. Your work ethic is nobody can pass you up on what you did for the school district. So you're a hard worker. Your work on the curriculum committee was just outstanding. It's just been a great 9 years that you've been on the board. So thank you for your time and wish you good luck in your retirement.
Real retirement.
She kept me in line at times.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll have to work on that, Dick. I don't know.
So thank you, Barb. So with that, with Mr. Holman and Mr. Oganoff and Mr. Fink, please come forward. And right up here. And I'm going to issue the oath of office, and so if you would, this will be for the state of Wisconsin, Dodge County, and if you would please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, and state your name.
I, Joseph Holman,
having been elected to the office of Board of Education of the School District of Mayville.
having been elected to the school district of
Swear that I will support the Constitution.
Swear that I will support the Constitution
of the United States.
Of the United States.
And the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin.
And the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin.
And will faithfully and impartially.
And will faithfully and impartially.
Discharge the duties of said office.
Discharge the duties of said office.
To the best of my ability.
To the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Hey,
You guys need to sign some papers here.
Hey Dick, where's my handshake?
Oh,
Come on.
I'll see if the trouble with that.
I'll show sign some papers here. And then hand them back to me so that I can sign them in. Any additional citizen comments?
Joseph Holman, 271 South Main. I just wanted to say thank you so much, Terry Wilkins and Barb Hagedorn. What you guys did for the community was great things. It takes a lot to even deal with folks like me who might say, hey, I don't agree with you, but it takes a lot, and I understand how much it takes. I've had people disagree with me and stuff, but I appreciate things you guys did. To the rest of the board, I'm excited to work with all of you to make students better, and I think that's my ultimate outcome, but be the top in ethics and morals that we can be. So that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Announcements.
Can I have my community comment?
Sure.
Yes. I'm speaking as a citizen, but if you don't mind, I'm not going to go over there because my legs don't work so good always, so I don't really want to stand there. So, but as a citizen, I want to take this opportunity to just make a comment. I wanted to thank the board that I've had the pleasure of working with these last 9 years. They are superb quality board and have worked together and have kept focus on what was really important all the time. And I feel proud to have been associated with them. I have a great deal of respect for the staff. I find it so exciting to see what our teachers and our kids do. And tonight was a prime example. And my greatest sadness is going to be missing things like the special night when we do the all the scholarship night. That's always been my favorite night of the year, to see the wonderful achievement and the wonderful opportunities the students are going to have. But as in my true form, I also feel I have to make a few comments. And I want to remind the community and our new board members that I know some of the comments during the election were that it was better to have someone who had children in school, be on the board, and that a lot of our board members no longer had children in school. And I just wanted to remind everyone that's really a tough road to hoe, to have a student in school while you're on the board. That's a fine line to walk. And you have to remember that you're not only advocating for your student all the time, but you're advocating for every student, and to make sure that every student has the best opportunity that they possibly can have. And the other thing is balancing that best education for our students along with the financial constraints that you always have in a community. And when I worked in government agencies some years back, a long time ago, a friend of mine gave me a comment, and I've used that in my entire life, especially in working in government service, is that you always need to be a good steward of the government's money. And I feel like every member of the board that I've worked with has worked hard to be a good steward of the government's money, the taxpayer's dollar, and have done our best to provide a quality education which helps our students and our community grow, along with being fiscally responsible to our community. And I would go to my death with the fact that I believe that this board has done that to the best of their ability all along. And one last thing, I just want to remind everybody, during my time before I came on the board, I was in a position of where I worked for a board. So not a lot of people have had the experience of being on both sides of the fence, having been an executive director, reporting to a board, and then being a board member, dealing with an executive director or superintendent in this circumstance. And I think there's three things that a board really needs to do. They need to hire good staff, mainly hiring a good superintendent who's capable of hiring good staff. They need to make sure that they provide the things that the staff needs so that they can potentially do their job to the best. And they need to let that superintendent do their job. The board has to be careful of second guessing and getting carried away with trying to do the job of the staff or trying to do the job of the superintendent. They need to let the staff who's qualified to do those jobs. Sometimes I've heard comments like, well, who on the board is going to have that expertise? The board doesn't need to have all the expertise. We need to be able to listen and understand and trust that the people we hired have the expertise to advise us on how to make those best decisions. So, like I said, I couldn't leave without my 2 cents worth. I occasionally will probably find myself in the audience. I'm sorry I won't be able to be here all the time, but it has been a great 9 years. It's been a wonderful learning experience for me, and hopefully I've been able to share in some of our struggles, challenges, and accomplishments over the past time. So thank you all.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you, Bob.
Just a couple things for the 2 new board members. I'd like you to keep on your calendar. May 8th is Senior Recognition Night, if you could make that. That is an outstanding night for all of the accomplishments of the seniors and all of the scholarships are given out. Last year was over $1 million in scholarships given out to our students. And then graduation day, that is a day that the entire board participates in graduation. So we have always participated, and I think it's a great thing that we give out the diplomas, and it's an honor to be up there to give these graduates some recognition. So you're going to keep those dates on your calendar, please. Any other announcements?
I would add or remind that Saturday is Earth Day. I don't know what Earth Day it is. There's a lot of activities going on this year that are in response to what has happened politically in our country. There's a march in Madison, I think will be very large. There's going to be one the following weekend in Fond du Lac, and I would encourage anyone to participate. I would have worn my t-shirt tonight, but my wife wouldn't let me.
Okay, if nothing else, this meeting's adjourned.